Hello students, I hope you have gone through the previous video of this chapter. Now coming to another topic of the fundamental unit of life, that is structure and function of cell organelles. Okay, so now in a house, okay, let me just give you an example first. What is a cell? We know that, right? So let me just come here. So we discussed that cell is the structural and functional unit, right? So what do you mean by that? Basically, let's imagine okay, let's imagine your school maybe or your home, okay? So you have a gate, right? Through that gate, you decide who will enter your home, who will get inside your house and who will not. Okay. And these are the boundaries of your home. Now you have maybe, a living room where people come and sit and maybe watch television or something. Okay. Living room. Let me just erase this. Yeah. Okay. So this is a living room. Maybe here is your kitchen. Maybe a study room where you study. Right. And lastly, a bedroom also. Correct? So here you will see a boundary outside, right? So this boundary in cell, if we talk about cell, also have different organelles or structure, okay? And they help, the cell to perform in a certain way and to keep everything, in order. So like, for example, in your house, you have 4 walls here, which protects you from different kind of weather, not let any kind of thief or anybody else, the strangers get into your house. Similarly, cell also makes sure that nothing which is not needed is going inside. Just ignore these images, okay? These are AI based, so we'll not look into that. Okay, so what happens? These cells have a proper boundary outside, okay? And this will be called as plasma membrane. It's like a membrane, right? So plasma membrane. This is very thin and flexible, and it is covered with lipids and proteins arranged in a fluid mosaic model. Now, what exactly a fluid mosaic model, that we will discuss in a regular class. Okay, that's a in-depth topic. Now, what is the function of this boundary or this thin flexible covering of the cell? It is selectively permeable. Just how you are selecting who will enter your house and who will not. The cells also decide whether the water will go inside or not, whether the sodium will go inside or not. Okay, whether let's say the chlorine or chloride is getting in or not. Okay, or maybe some other ions or anything. The exchange of that should happen or not. So one organelle or the first organelle of a cell would be plasma membrane. Okay. Now if we move ahead. Okay. Now cell wall. Some of the cells have another protective layer apart from plasma membrane. So suppose if this is plasma membrane, I'm writing it in a short manner. Okay. This is the cell wall. Usually plants, bacteria, fungus, all these have cell wall except for animals. In animals, it is, animals absent or absent. Okay. So in animals, cell wall is absent. Rest or other organisms, okay, like plants, fungus, this is present. Why is it there? This is an extra protective barrier, you can say. So if your house has this gate, no, so some of the houses are there in one more boundary, right? They have one more boundary and a big gate. Okay. And that boundary is, sometimes covered with glass on the top or some wiring so that nobody, enters here inside the house, in the house premises. Okay. So the function here would be to provide shape, strength, and protection. Because what happens, the plants cannot move. They cannot go in different weather to certain place to hide themselves or protect themselves, right? And also a lot of animals or some, insects can eat up them, right? So that's why the plants have one more extra protective layer which provides shape and strength also. Okay. Prevents bursting when water enters. So sometimes what happens if this is a cell wall, okay? So if a lot of water enters, so suppose if this is the plasma membrane, okay, let me just remove everything. Okay, so if this is cell wall, this is plasma membrane. So plasma membrane will start, expanding more or taking more shape of the cell. So the cell can burst, but this protective layer, the cell wall, stops the cell from bursting. And also it helps in cell-to-cell communication. For the example, there is another cell and it needs something, or this cell is preparing some kind of protein which this cell needs. So they will communicate through their, neighboring cell wall. Okay, animal cells lack a cell wall, which is why they can change shape more easily than plant cells. Okay, so this is about cell wall. Now if we talk about the nucleus, so in nucleus is like, for example, you can imagine, in a kitchen. Let's imagine a kitchen. So in a kitchen there is one head chef, right? There is a restaurant, so there is one head chef, and he is deciding what is going to be cooked. Okay, so he will decide all the menu and everything and how things should be prepared. Similarly, nucleus can be the head chef. Okay, now it is it is protected with double, membrane. So nucleus is again inside the cell. It is protected with a double membrane, covers it. Inside it, the DNA and proteins are there. Okay, chromatin material is there. So inside it, DNA and chromosomes and different kinds of proteins are there. Okay. And nucleolus is also present there. So nucleolus make ribosome. Ribosomes further make protein that we will see later. Okay, when we talk in depth in different standards, you can say. Okay. Now, what is the function here of nucleus is, first of all, to control all activity. Like I said, that there is one head chef. Okay, head chef is going to decide what is going to be cooked in that kitchen. So similarly, nucleus is going to decide whether lipid is going to be formed or some sort of protein is being formed, what kind of protein is being formed. Okay, where should it go, all these things. And stores DNA and genetic information. That means nucleus also stores all the data. For example, your hair color, your eye color, right, your height, what it is going to be. So all your genetic material which has to be passed on, or the hereditary material which has to be passed on into the new generation, is kept in nucleus, protected with a double membrane. Okay. Now, coordinates cell division and protein synthesis. It takes a lot of, its major role is also there for, cell division. So it helps the cell to divide into different two cells. Okay, then this will divide and two new cells will be formed. Okay, so I hope everybody is getting what I'm saying. Coming to the cytoplasm. So cytoplasm is just like, if this is a cell and these are all organelles, let's say this is nucleus, this is, mitochondria. Okay. Okay, this is not a very good mitochondria. We'll try making some later, in our classes in a detailed manner. And this is, you can say, endoplasmic reticulum. This is Golgi apparatus. Okay, everything is there. So cytoplasm is the jelly-like fluid which is present in the rest of the space, which is not covered by any cell organelle. So this space is actually filled with jelly-like fluid. Okay. So its function is, it acts as a medium for thousands of biochemical reactions. So lots and lots of biochemical reaction either here in the cytoplasm, or maybe it acts as a, helps in transferring the different kind of ions. Okay, stores nutrients and dissolves waste as well, and also contains cytoskeleton that provides structure and allows movement. Okay, so what happens if you are keeping something, some liquid kind of substance here, so it will help you to make a shape like this. Okay, whatever shape of the cell is, so it keeps it intact like that. Okay, it allows and also allows movement as well. So that is the function of a cytoplasm. Okay, and it has mostly approximately 80% water, right? Okay, moving on to another organelle. This is the mitochondria. Okay, mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. You can say powerhouse. Why? Because it produces ATP. Okay, with the help of oxygen and all now, which you are respiring, it will produce ATP, and this ATP acts as a energy currency. Now this ATP will be used for different kinds of things which is happening in your body, for your movement, for your cell signaling, cell to cell signal. Okay, your growth, for your development, for your change in the eye color, or maybe your hair color, or anything happening. For that, the energy which is needed for different reactions to occur. Okay, or even for a cell to die, energy is needed, and that is being produced in a mitochondria. Mitochondria is also double membrane structure. Okay, so only 3-cell organelle, if I tell you, organelle is made up of double membrane, or has double membranous structure. One is nucleus. Okay, the second one is mitochondria, and the last one is plastid. Rest all of them are either single membrane or no membrane at all. Okay, and mitochondria has its own DNA and ribosome. So far, we have seen that cytoplasm doesn't have its own DNA and ribosome, right? Plasma membrane doesn't have its own DNA and ribosome. Only cell nucleus has its DNA and ribosome, right? Similarly, mitochondria also has its own little bit of DNA and ribosome. That's why it is known as semi-autonomous. Autonomous means that something which can perform, like it is under somebody, that body is under somebody, but under some organization or something, but it has certain role which it can play by itself without keeping anybody else in check. Okay, right? So for example, I'll give you an example. So if you are studying in an autonomous college, what happens? There is university, right? So university will give you the degree for that college. Okay, but this college will conduct their own exams and everything else. It will not be based on university's decision. Okay, university can conduct their examination maybe in October, college can conduct it now. Okay, but the degree which you will get will be from university. So this is just an example, real life example I'm giving. That's how autonomous things work. They can make their own decision. Okay, so mitochondria can also do the same thing. Now, if we talk about plastids are very interesting, organelles, you can say. They are found only in plant cell and some of the protists. What is their function? So there can be different types. The first one is chloroplast. It is very simple. They provide green pigment because they have chlorophyll in it. And if there is a green pigment in any plant, it is supposed to do photosynthesis to, again, convert the light energy into a chemical energy form, which can be used further for different kinds of, growth and development. Okay. Now, if we talk about chromoplast, they give the yellow color, the orange color, or the red color to the leaves. Okay. And also fruits, flowers. So because of chromoplast only, you can see variety of colors in flowers. Okay, specifically if we talk about. And leucoplast is nothing but it is a plastid which helps in storing starch, protein, and oils. Okay, so they have amyloplast and lipidoplast, all those things, which we don't have to go in depth. So this is non-photosynthetic. That means if some plant has leucoplast in it, they will not do photosynthesis. They'll just store whatever is being produced in the body. Okay, whatever nutrients are being produced. Okay, so that is what is the function of a leucoplast. Okay, like mitochondria, plastids have their own DNA and ribosomes. Okay, and also they are double membrane, like I told you already. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now, endoplasmic reticulum. So again, there are one more, organelle is there, endoplasmic reticulum, which are of two types. One is rough, second is smooth. The rough one is embedded with another organelle known as ribosome. So this, rough endoplasmic reticulum would look something like this because they have this ribosome, small, ribosomes attached like this. But smooth ones do not have these, and they are just like that. Okay, and rough ones helps in the protein synthesis, and the smooth ones helps in the lipid synthesis, or lipids are nothing but oil. Okay, so oil synthesis basically, but here lipid is a more accurate word. Okay, so this is it. And also they helps in the uh, storage of the calcium ion in muscles. Okay, so this again we will see how it works. So I hope you are clear with, cytoplasm, plasma membrane, cell wall, then nucleus, then plastids, and mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum. We have discussed so many organelles without even knowing. Okay, now comes the Golgi apparatus. So Golgi apparatus also, it helps in making protein from endoplasmic reticulum. It also helps in packaging. You can imagine Golgi apparatus like in a restaurant, if somebody is, you have ordered something online, right? You have done maybe Zomato, Swiggy, all that. So somebody is preparing, there is a head chef who has given the order to make something. Now there are chefs who are making. Okay, so that can be chloroplast. Now that food, once it has been made, okay, it will be then, has to deliver to some other cell or some other location, right? So Golgi apparatus does the packaging of the, you can say, food or whatever the material has been made inside the nucleus or outside the nucleus, anywhere, right? So they package it, right? They process it, by adding sugar, phosphate, any kind of, ketchup, and anything is being added to your order. So that is done by Golgi apparatus. I'm giving analogy so that you can understand better, okay? And transport. So vesicles deliver proteins to their final destination, okay? The cell membrane, maybe, or cell membrane is the plasma membrane only. Plasma membrane, okay? Lysosomes are outside of the cell. So wherever the delivery is needed, they help in transporting that as well, okay? Now ribosomes. So ribosomes are very unique organelles, okay? They are very tiny, they are very small, okay, non-membranous. They don't have any membrane outside them. They look something like this. The structure looks like this. It has two subunits, okay, and made up of RNA and protein. So when RNA combines with a protein, it makes ribosome. And again, this ribosomes helps in the formation of protein and different other things, okay? So protein synthesis. And there can be two types: free ribosomes, just in the cell lying here and there, or maybe bounded to the, you can say, the endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, like this. Right, lysosomes. Now, lysosomes are the recycling center. Or any, in your kitchen, restaurant kitchen, you can imagine that there would be one, bin or trash bin, okay, or dustbin, where all the unnecessary things, okay, the spoiled food, the spoiled raw material or anything can be thrown, which is not needed, right? So similarly, lysosomes, what they do is, lysosomes actually take care of recycling the whole center if something is not needed. Defense system also they act as. So if any foreign particle is coming, it takes care of that, and also is suicidal bag. In case of, a cell death, in case of your restaurant, closed completely, so all the waste material would be thrown out in the trash bin. Similarly, if the whole cell somehow died or cell death is there, so that lysosomes will digest, itself. I mean the cell. Okay, so lysosomes were discovered by Belgian scientist Christian de Duve, okay, in 1949. Later, he got Nobel Prize. Okay, so you can remember this. Okay. Now, this is the whole summary. Maybe you can take a screenshot, or maybe you can pause the video, write the whole summary, so that you don't have to go back again and again, to the different points, because this summarizes everything. So plasma membrane is thin and flexible, and it makes sure that what goes in and what goes out. Okay. Cell wall rigid and cellulose base, made up of cellulose. Cellulose is a sugar, and provides strength, shape, protection to the whole cell. Nucleus, double membrane, DNA is inside and controls different activities. Cytoplasm, it is jelly-like fluid and medium for reactions. Then mitochondria is double membrane. I told you plastids are also double membrane. Mitochondria produces energy, and plastids take care of photosynthesis and storage, and plastids are only present in the plant cell. Now, endoplasmic reticulum can be of two types and helps in the transportation and synthesis. Golgi apparatus helps in the packaging and secretion, okay? And ribosomes are tiny non-membrane. So there is no membrane in ribosome. Remember that, okay? It helps in the protein synthesis, and lysosomes take care of any kind of digestion if it is needed, and autolysis. Okay, it has vesicles with digestive enzymes inside it, which helps in the digestion. Okay, now I think you can answer these questions. Okay, so the first one is, why are mitochondria called the powerhouse of the cell? Now you know, I think. Okay, which organelle synthesizes protein? So this again, I think you can answer that, okay? Because they are present in both the forms, free form and bound form. So you can tell. Name the 3 types of plastids. One is green, one is colorful, and one is colorless, helps in storage, right? And last question is, which organelle is found in the plant cells but not in animal cells? So this is all for today. Thank you so much for joining the session. Hope to see you in the next session. And until then, you can check out my profile at Urban Pro and ask me any doubts which you have. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.